This installment of the Crucible examines the relationship between quality of care and the risk of being sued for medical malpractice. And the paper comes from the New England Journal of Medicine in 2011, and it's titled Relationship Between Quality of Care and Negligence Litigation in Nursing Homes. The authors compared lawsuit data from 1,465 nursing homes to various indicators of nursing home quality over a 7-year period. The data was corrected for facility clustering and adjusted for case mix, ownership, occupancy, year, and state. Nursing homes that delivered lower quality care, which was indicated by having more residents with weight loss, pressure ulcers, and lower staffing levels, were more likely to be sued. However, the overall effect was small. Nursing homes which ranked in the 90th percentile in terms of quality had a 40% annual risk of being sued, while those ranking in the 10th percentile had a 47% annual risk. The authors concluded, and I quote, "The best performing nursing homes are sued only marginally less than the worst performing ones." Now, this result might seem like a surprise, but it shouldn't. Remember, back in 1991, the Harvard practice study, which was also published in the New England Journal, demonstrated that more than 80% of lawsuits are filed by patients who were not injured by substandard care. More than 80% of lawsuits are filed by patients who were not injured by substandard care. These results were confirmed in a similar study published 10 years later, and I consider these two studies to be the Framingham data for medical malpractice. And if you're not familiar with that term, the Framingham study provided us with the foundational data that helped us understand cardiac disease. It's how we established all the cardiac risk factors. And what I'm saying is that we have to view the Harvard practice study in a similar way, which means that every theory about lawsuits has to be reconciled with this data. Now, most medical legal people don't do that, and it's part of the reason their ideas never work, but we're scientists and we're going to reconcile the data. So, the Harvard study established that most lawsuits are filed by people who did not receive substandard care. And this nursing home study found a weak relationship between quality of care and lawsuit risk, which is another way of saying the exact same thing. This nursing home study isn't a fluke. It's not an outlier. It's completely compatible with what we've known for over 20 years. And that is that practicing perfect, high-quality medicine won't prevent most lawsuits because most lawsuits are filed by people who received proper care. Now, even though we all understood that just a few years ago, we've forgotten it or dismissed it or gotten bored with it, and we've adopted a new approach that's incompatible with this data. You see, when the Harvard study came out and showed that most lawsuits were unrelated to substandard care, a question arose as to what was causing these lawsuits. If it wasn't bad care, it must be something else. And people eventually decided that it was bad bedside manner. In other words, doctors caused patients to sue by failing to show empathy, being dishonest, and so on. Now, that's not correct, but the medical legal community has a tendency to blame everything on doctors, so they said it was bad bedside manner. And this ushered in the communication era of risk management. And for the next 20 years, we were told that communication is the key. And we spent a lot of time learning how to empathize and sympathize and so on because we didn't want to get sued. Now, even though the Harvard data is still out there, and this nursing home study confirms that the principles are still valid, the medical legal community has done a 180 and decided that we can prevent lawsuits by delivering high-quality care. And they gave this old idea a new name, which is patient safety. But regardless of what you call it, we've known for 25 years that it won't prevent most lawsuits. And the part that I don't understand is that we were told for 2 decades that it's not bad medicine, it's bad communication. And now we're being told, well, maybe it is bad medicine. So I guess it's bad medicine and bad communication, which makes me wonder if we doctors are good at anything. In order to understand this, we have to recognize that even if we practice perfect medicine and commit 0 errors, people will continue to suffer bad outcomes at a very high rate. Now, how do I know that? Because bad outcomes are an unavoidable part of the human condition. People were getting sick and dying long before doctors showed up and started committing errors, and they'll continue to get sick and die long after all the doctors are gone. As a result, even when we deliver high-quality care, most bad outcomes remain, and those bad outcomes are the substrate for lawsuits. In order to prevent lawsuits, we have to accept that they have but a minimal relationship to quality of care and patient safety. Patient safety is a worthy pursuit, but even with perfect safety, most lawsuits will still occur. Thanks for listening.